Thank you. My name's Fred Biebesheimer. I live on 17 River Street. I've lived in Salem for 25 years. We live on River Street with my wife Lisa and two teenage boys. I'm going to skip over some of my introduction because so much of it's been said much better by previous speakers, but I echo the sentiment that over the years that I've lived on River Street and in Salem in general, I've watched the continual improvement of the Bridge Street area, even as of late with the new sidewalks and lighting on the upper end of the street and the slow cleanup of the parts closer to us. And then when I look at the proposed use of this space, I echo what others have said already, that I think we can do much better as a city that's always seemed to have such a clear vision for the future. I just have two specific points to make relative to zoning. A couple things that I don't think have been brought up. This is more just for kind of some thought process as it relates to zoning. As I understand it, the City of Salem participates in the FEMA National Flood Insurance Program, and as such I understand we need to require of our building codes certain adherence to flood prevention standards. As I read those codes, that puts a lot of potential design constraints on a building that can go on that spot, and I don't know whether developers have brought up any of those potential issues, because the entire site appears to be in a Zone A coastal floodplain. So when we talk about a height of 35 feet, I question whether that's legitimate if in fact the site will have to be built on stilts and elevated up above potential high water mark. So that's a concern I have, that when we talk about a building of a certain height, it might ultimately be higher than what's being proposed, and then some of the graphics that we've seen become even more dramatic with the building higher. So that's one of my concerns. The second concern relates again to a vision of potential uses for other spaces, other buildings in the area. The existing Webb building, well, no details have been provided. It's pretty clear that someone is going to be turning that into either residential or office or mixed use space in that regard. It's a fairly large building, and if you kind of take a guess at what might go in it, I asked my father, who's a retired architect, to give a rough idea of what might go in there. And just one example is you could fit 10 studio units, 25 one-bedroom units, and 15 two-bedroom units. So that's what it is. But then you need parking for it. So if you allocate one parking spot per studio, and then 2 parking spots for each of the other units, you're looking at 90 plus spots that you need for parking to make that a viable facility. I think it's pretty clear that people aren't going to want to walk too far. People, generally speaking, like to have parking right where they live. And similarly, if you made it into an office building, even doing a simple design of 2 office suites per floor, that's 10 offices, you have a minimal 5 spaces per office. That's 50 spots plus visitor parking, so you need 60 spots. The current land to the, I believe it's to the east of the building, it has room for at most 33 spots, give or take, without any outdoor amenities that you might provide to future tenants. So I guess my point there is, by the city selling this land, we're potentially losing an opportunity to further potentially a better development, something more appropriate to the neighborhood, and lose an opportunity to lease some spaces to a future development for what's obviously going to be a parking need for that kind of development. Just like the city does now, they lease spots at the Church Street parking garage to the Church Street condominiums, for example. So it's something that the city does in other locations. Those are my comments, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred. Next we